Hello and welcome back to another FPL Mate video. My name is Dan, of course, and I need to show you my final wildcard team before the Game Week 31 deadline. And I say final, it's as final as things can be before the deadline tomorrow. If there's any final team news or team leaks, then maybe things will change. But I'm pretty happy with my team right now, guys. So let's get stuck in. Loads to talk about around my wildcard team and just some general opinions around Game Week 31. And I think this video is going to be pretty helpful as we look at those final decisions to make ahead of the deadline. So apologies guys, this is the second video of today, so I've had to really rush this video out a lot, so no fancy edits today. We are just going to be on the FPL website and having a look at some other screenshots and some assets from around the web. So hopefully that's okay with you guys. I apologize, usually I love to edit videos, but yeah, it does take usually several hours to put a video together with the editing, so therefore we're gonna be raw dogging it today, guys. So yeah, this is my team from Game Week 30. First of all, 59 points. I did decide to delay and postpone the wild card until Game Week 31, just because I felt my team was strong enough to conquer Game Week 30. And generally, it really was. The one concern I guess I had was around Cliver, but I did think that Hudson-Odoi could come in and cover. Obviously, that was unable to happen. He missed out in Game Week 30 for personal reasons, but Castagna instead came off my bench. And a score of 59 points, I think, is very strong for Game Week 30, considering a lot of the wild cards that I saw did actually maybe disappoint a little bit. So very happy to be going into this next week with my wild card still in hand. So that brings us on to the well, I suppose the fixtures. So they were confirmed yesterday, which is absolutely brilliant to have that verified information around Game Week 33 and Game Week 34. And guess what, guys? It is exactly how we did predict it in our videos this season with our predictions. And it looks like there's going to be another prediction come true with regards to Game Week 36 and 37. So very quickly on Game Week 33, Arsenal, Villa, Crystal Palace and Man City have had their double game week confirmed, and all of those teams will be blanking in Game Week 34. And as predicted, Nottingham Forest and Brentford, they are still going to have their fixture remain in Game Week 34, but move into the midweek slot rather than where we previously thought it might be, which was going to be maybe in Game Week 33. But we did predict it that it was going to stay within Game Week 34. So again, a correct prediction. So really nice to have everything exactly how you expect it. That is very useful indeed. So yeah, good to have that information. And the other prediction we made was around Game Week 36 and 37, and that now looks super likely to happen, that we're going to see the Game Week 37 FA Cup finalists and their scheduled Game Week 37 opponents moved into Game Week 36. So it's going to be it's going to either be Aston Villa and Spurs, or Crystal Palace and Wolves doubling in 36, and the other double will be either Man City and Bournemouth, or Nottingham Forest and West Ham. So it's going to be one of each of those two pairs, if indeed this prediction does come true, that Game Week 37 fixtures are moved into 36, and I think they will. So yeah, with that in mind, guys, if you're wildcarding now, which I am, it's not just about looking for the Game Week 33 doubles, but also having a kind of a longer term view of Game Week 36. How can we maximize our Game Week 36 doublers as well? And that's hopefully what I've done with my wildcard team today. So let's have a look at this wildcard team. And I should, first of all, before we go through these players in this squad, I should definitely say to you guys that this is definitely not the only way to play your wildcard team. And for me in particular, I am usually a fairly risky kind of manager anyway when I'm playing FPL. And I'm not totally happy with my rank right now. So I am going to be making some bold decisions that a lot of people might not be comfortable with. So straight away, you're going to probably say, Dan, don't pick Gordon. Or you shouldn't pick Gordon. You should pick Trippier. You should go for Murphy. Go for Burn, Murphy, Isak as your triple Newcastle. Totally get that. If you want to play safe, then these are definitely the safe and secure and sensible kind of picks to go for. You'll also probably say Rashford, Savinho, players like this, too risky. You may not want to go for them. But for me, I'm happy to take a big risk here. I'm happy to take several risks, actually. And that is my intention, and that is what I'm going to be doing. That's not to say that you should as well. So just a fair warning there for you guys. If you are uncomfortable with these kind of players, that is totally fine. And obviously, I can make some suggestions for some safer picks, I suppose. So let's go through this team. We have got the double Arsenal defense of Raya and Saliba. This is where I want to start, really. I know some people may be looking at maybe Kivior. However, I'm not totally convinced that Kivior is going to be regularly starting for Arsenal, even with Gabriel out for the rest of the season. I think once we have the likes of Ben White and obviously Timber, when he recovered, Ben White and Timber, they could be back for game week 31, maybe game week 32. If these guys are back, then Kivior is in danger. When Calafiori comes back, Kivior is in danger again. So if we're looking towards game week 33, can we count on Kivior playing in the double game week 33 for Arsenal? In my opinion, no. So I don't want to go there personally. I am going to be sticking with the double Arsenal defense, however, and this is a very key point here. I was kind of looking up Arsenal with and without Gabriel. A lot of people have said Arsenal, they're going to be terrible without Gabriel. I don't think that is the case. Gabriel has missed 4 games for Arsenal this season, and Arsenal kept 3 clean sheets in those 4 games. And the game they didn't keep a clean sheet in was a 1-1 draw with Fulham. So actually, they only conceded 1 goal in the 4 games that Gabriel did miss for Arsenal this season, which is, yeah, it kind of tells a different story. I think Arsenal generally, the system that they have is well set up for keeping clean sheets. So losing 1 player doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be terrible defensively. Yes, there's probably going to be a small drop-off, but they're probably still going to be the best defense in the league, in my opinion. And one more note on Gabriel's absence. I'm having a look at Saliba, and we can find the 2 games in which Gabriel did not play for the Arsenal. It was game week 14 and 15. In the Premier League, at least. And what do you notice about these 2 game weeks for Saliba? Well, he scored in both of these games, and his XG numbers is pretty much non-existent in all of the other games in which Gabriel did play. Why is that? Well, of course, Gabriel is often the main aerial threat for Arsenal, but when we do see Gabriel out of the team, Saliba does take up a lot of those duties of being a target man from set pieces. And now with Saka back, delivering those crosses from those set pieces, hopefully we are going to see an opportunity for Saliba to, in fact, be the guy to score the goals, when usually he's very much not that guy. So definitely another point to be made there. Looking at the fixtures as well for Arsenal, they are very good from a clean sheet perspective. Everton and Ipswich are the 2 easiest fixtures. They are the away games. And we've got Brentford at home and Crystal Palace at home as well. We know Arsenal typically this season have been pretty fixture proof in terms of clean sheets. So I'm happy to go double Arsenal defense. I still have that confidence, and I'm going to go expensive with Saliba and Raya just to get those guaranteed minutes there. That is not really a place I'm willing to take a risk. So that's why we have double Arsenal defense. Areola is another interesting point. He is going to be my bench boost goalkeeper for game week 33, where West Ham face Southampton at home. West Ham, of course, not really conceding too many goals recently. They only really concede a maximum of 1 goal in the last 6 game weeks. So we are seeing some pretty positive defensive numbers from West Ham generally. So I think we can have some confidence there. They have, of course, kept 2 clean sheets in this period as well against Leicester and Arsenal. Can they do it against Southampton? Let's see. Obviously not scoring too many goals, but we're not looking for Areola to score goals. We need him to keep clean sheets. That's the key there, really. And one more note on Areola. We did mention this in our last wildcard video. In game week 37, there is a chance that that fixture against Nottingham Forest, if Forest beat Man City in the FA Cup, that fixture will move into game week 36, creating a double game week for Areola in game week 36 against Manchester United and Forest. And of course, in the same game week, we see Raya, if we have a look here, he is going to play Liverpool away in that same game week. So a really nice opportunity to go for Areola as the goalkeeper in game week 36, as well as the bench boost in game week 33, as long as Forest beat Man City, which I have to admit isn't super likely, but it's nice to have that cover for the potential outcome there. Going through some of these other defenders, I don't think we need to speak about Munoz or Konsa too much. Very, very obvious picks. Munoz has that attacking threat, so even if you don't really like the look of these fixtures from a defensive point of view, you are still going to get some decent attacking threat from Munoz. I think he is going to be much better in this next game. He's just come off the back of international duty, traveling around South America, then coming straight back into the FA Cup. And yeah, that's why maybe we saw an early sub against Southampton, but against Brighton, I think he's straight back on it, looking better. Of course, Konsa and Aston Villa keeping more clean sheets at the moment as well. They do have a fixture against Southampton in 32, and in 33, that double against Newcastle and Man City. And if Aston Villa do beat Crystal Palace in the FA Cup, they're also going to be having a double in 36. If Crystal Palace have the win the FA Cup game, they will be the team that double in 36. So we do have ourselves covered on both sides with Crystal Palace players and Aston Villa side as well. So whoever wins the FA Cup game, we are going to have double game week players for game week 36. And finally, double Newcastle defence. And I think this is the angle I want to take with it. I'm looking at these fixtures. Leicester is an amazing fixture for clean sheets. I mean, how many goals have they scored in the last 15 or so games? Like 1 or 2, 3 goals, maybe. They are just not scoring at all, offering so little threat. So actually, a double Newcastle defence could be really nice against Leicester. I think Manchester United at home is another potential clean sheet game, and maybe the likes of Crystal Palace as well. We'll have to wait and see on that one. So yes, double Newcastle defence. Now, Trippier, of course, has been playing very well for Newcastle recently. A real key player for them. He's had a bit of a resurgence. And actually, before Newcastle conceded against Brentford, Trippier was also on for bonus points. So that is going to be nice to have, you know, a passing defender is going to clock up bonus points quite nicely if they can get some clean sheets. The question is he going to play in game week 31? Let's have a look at the Newcastle news generally, if I can find the tab. So this is the quote from Eddie Howe and what he said about Newcastle's game on Monday. So by the way, guys, Newcastle obviously played on Wednesday. They next play on Monday. And then the game after that against Manchester United is all the way on Sunday. So they've got decent gaps between games at the moment. And of course, the Premier League is the only competition Newcastle are in still. And if we look at the Premier League table, they really need to secure top 4, maybe top 5 if there is 5 Champions League places, and they are so close to doing that. So it's their only competition. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. This is a very big end to the season for them. But going back to the quotes on Isak and Trippier, indeed. And Eddie Howe has said, "We will wait and see today. I will see them, Kieran Trippier and Alexander Isak, for the first time today. We don't think we have any big injuries from Wednesday night, but we have a few niggles. We are monitoring Anthony. He is still recovering. He has done individual training, not group training. We will have to wait and see." So it's not looking too positive on Anthony Gordon because he's not training with the group. However, Trippier and Isak, well, apparently there's no big injuries. Maybe it's just some niggles. The thing is, with Trippier in particular, there's not really any cover elsewhere. Aside from the main 4 starting Newcastle defenders, which we've seen recently, the only other guy who's fit at the moment is Emil Kraft. So it's very likely that Trippier, with this being the only competition Newcastle are in, just continues to play over and over and over again. And that's kind of what we want, even if there are some niggles. He might see his minutes managed a little bit, but with defenders, as long as they make it to 60 minutes and lock in those clean sheet points, I'm sure we're pretty happy with that generally. So I'm happy to take a risk on Trippier. I'm sure some people will feel uncomfortable with that one, and that's totally fine. We've got Livramento there if you would prefer. You could just go single Newcastle defense with Dan Burn and go full Murphy in midfield and play it super safe like that. Totally fine, just not the way I want to play this one. So in midfield, we've got the pretty obvious likes of Salah and Saka. I think Sarr needs not too much introduction as well. Saka is an interesting one, and I might actually look to bench him if we get a leak that he is benched against Everton. That is the first game of game week 31. So hopefully we can get a leak and then make a decision on Saka. But if not, I will be looking to play him against Everton. Hopefully he continues to build his minutes and plays a decent amount in that game. If not, I'll probably be looking to bench Sarr, but we'll come back to that in a moment's time. Savinho has been absolutely brilliant for Man City, and he's playing every Premier League game at the moment, literally everyone. Since game week 24, he has not missed a single game. He's been starting every one. So if you're looking for that nailedness, I think Savinho is actually pretty positive here, and really without the likes of Haaland in the team, Marmoush goes to the forward position. Savio can play on either wing, even behind the striker, but he's going to primarily play on that right wing, and I think he should be really good for minutes over these next coming games. Manchester United, Palace, Everton and Aston Villa there as well for the double, which is a pretty nice double if I do say so myself. So I like him. Rashford, risky, really risky, but he is playing so well at the moment. He really is, particularly if you look in all competitions. And we have actually got the news that Watkins is managing a knee injury at the moment, which apparently he's been suffering with for quite some time. And because Watkins is still really not quite there, Rashford is in such good form. We could see that Rashford does maintain his place in the striker position. And if we actually look at the top goal projections for this game week, we see that, of course, Isak is on top. This is presuming a start. We see Solanke and Son against Southampton, Salah against Fulham. But actually, we see Rashford here in 5th place. If he gets the start against Nottingham Forest, he's projected 0.48 goals, which is really, really nice, actually. Just ahead of Marmoush there on 0.47. So I think, again, that is an interesting punt to take. It is really, really risky around minutes. But honestly, I kind of look at him and I think even if he doesn't start every game, he is more than capable of doing something off the bench, whether that is creatively or scoring goals himself. He's in such good form. And Aston Villa are another team that really do need a strong finish to the Premier League. They have still got Champions League football well and truly within their hands here. They are only, 3 points away from 5th place, 4 points away from 4th place. So it's so on right now for Aston Villa. It could be really, really interesting to see what happens next with them. And yeah, I'm happy to take a risk on Rashford. I think he offers a much more attacking threat than someone like Rodgers when I've been watching Aston Villa recently. But Rodgers is the safer minutes guy. So if you are just looking for, the best ability is availability, a player who's going to be playing most games, I don't want to say 100%, but 90+% of games, then Rodgers is definitely going to be your guy. If you want to take a risk, try and chase that mega haul, then I think Marcus Rashford has got a big haul, FPL haul coming. So I'm going to take that risk, but I do not blame you if you do not want to take that risk. So I want to go through this team week by week. Before we do that, let's have a quick look at the clean sheet odds. So clean sheet odds, Arsenal 46% chance of a clean sheet, Newcastle 38% chance, Spurs, Liverpool, Aston Villa also kind of up here, maybe Wolves and Ipswich too, maybe Bournemouth as well if you want to go that direction. Actually, we've got the likes of Crystal Palace and Man City a little lower on 25% this week, and even Nottingham Forest 17%. That's another key defense that a lot of people are invested in. So let's have a look at my team, what it looks like week to week as we look for our chip strategy. And my strategy is actually going to be a Game Week 33 bench boost, but I have also looked at a Game Week 32 bench boost. And to be honest, it looks pretty good. I quite like the look of a Game Week 32 bench boost as well. I just think when I've been planning out and particularly looking to have players in place ready for Game Week 36, I'm kind of thinking Game Week 33 bench boost works a little bit better for me. But both are great options. So I don't want to, say, this is not going to work. In fact, if you switched Areola to Verbruggen, for example, a Game Week 32 bench boost works with this team as well. But I think I'm going to go Game Week 33 for my bench boost indeed. So this is going to be the Game Week 31 team, something a little bit like this. And what we see is will bench the likes of Sarr unless we get a leak that Saka is benched. And I'm also going to bench Munoz against Brighton in favour of that double Newcastle defence, double Arsenal defence. So going all in, risky play. These are the two teams with the highest clean sheet odds of the week. And I'm excited to see what might happen in this scenario. Moving on into Game Week 32, we are going to talk about captains as well, by the way, guys. I haven't forgotten. But I just want to go week by week. Game Week 32, my team will probably look a little bit like this. Depending on minutes, I may look to play Savinho instead of Rashford. Saliba is going to stay on the bench with just a single Arsenal defender in Raya against Brentford. Double Newcastle defense. We've got Munoz as well with a double game week. And really, it's the defensive assets with the double game weeks and actually the attacking assets with the single game weeks, because typically it's our attackers that can score the big points in single game weeks regardless. And defenders, actually, if you want to get the big scores, maybe slightly more reliant on double game weeks to maximize your odds of cheesing one clean sheet in there, which could well happen. Maybe a 0-0 draw between Crystal Palace and Newcastle might suit me, to be totally honest with you guys. But regardless, yeah, this is what the team will look like for that particular game week. Going into Game Week 33, this will be my bench boost week, and there'll be one transfer made. I know probably one thing you may have noticed is that Gvardiol was actually missing from my wildcard team. Why is that? Well, I will be looking to spend one transfer between now and game week 33 on moving Trippier to Gvardiol for game week 33. I was actually looking at Gvardiol, and over the next few game weeks, actually probably wasn't ever going to play him in game week 31 or 32. So for that reason, if I have to, sacrifice one player, it made sense to sacrifice Gvardiol for the short term with the view to switch Newcastle players out for him. Because at the end of the day, going into game week 33, a lot of people will be looking to switch out Newcastle players. And why not switch out a Newcastle player for a player who you know you want in game week 33, but you are not totally convinced you'll actually start them in game week 31 and 32. And that just works within my budget as well. I've saved a little bit of money in my wildcard draft to make sure I can make that upgrade no matter what. So that would be the one planned transfer. I could end up making a second transfer. I have looked at maybe doing the likes of Burn to a Connor Bradley of Liverpool, who I don't think is going to be available for game week 31. I mean, there's a chance, but he could be available for game week 32, 33, where he has quite nice fixtures. He plays Leicester, for example, in game week 33. So it could be an interesting little punt there if I wanted to switch out Burn as well. But primarily, we'll have Areola, Rashford and Konsa with their double game weeks, and Burn if I keep him. If not, might move him to Bradley. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I'm open to moving Isak to Watkins potentially, depending on his minutes, what they look like. I'm open to, switching out a Rashford or a Savinho or something like that if things go terribly wrong. So I only really have that one planned transfer, and I'll just, I guess, play the other one by ear a little bit there. So that is what my team will look like week by week. Game week 34 will be my free hit, of course, and in game week 35, we will start to, well, at this point, we will know who doubles in 36, who blanks in 37, if anyone, and we can start making some decisions for the final game weeks of the season based on that information. And finally, let's talk about captaincy, because I do have to select a player for my captaincy this week. And my thoughts is going for Isak. He just has the best fixture. He has the best projections. I'm not totally convinced by Salah at the moment. Sorry, this is my team here. I'm not totally convinced by Salah at the moment. I don't feel he is playing super well at the moment. And without Trent, there seems to be a little bit of a lack of creativity in this Liverpool team. And I know I'm going to get slated for saying that Salah is maybe not in the best form right now, but I'm not been totally convinced. And I think a big part of that is because we just have such high standards for Liverpool and Salah. We recognize that these are brilliant players. This is a brilliant team. And, as such, they are super expensive in FPL, and we look to captain them every week because they are so brilliant. So when they are just maybe slightly below brilliant, at that point, I think you can afford to look elsewhere. And particularly if you are kind of wanting to take some risks, now is the time to do that. Most people in FPL probably don't watch a huge amount of football, maybe not super nerds, maybe not watching videos and reading tweets and whatever. They might not even have really noticed that Salah's performances have dropped off a little bit, and maybe that he has been a little reliant on penalties to get FPL points in recent games, particularly if you look in all competitions as well. And therefore, they might still think, yeah, this Salah is still, crazy good Salah, like insanely good Salah. And no doubt he will get back to that. But in this moment, he has kind of dropped down a peg. And that kind of instance, I think, is an opportunity to punt. Still probably safer to captain Salah, but if you do see something shifting even slightly, these are the kind of moments I'd be willing to take a little bit of a risk. So I'm not saying it's the right decision. I'm not saying this is guaranteed results. I'm not saying Salah is going to blank. I'm just saying that maybe compared to a month ago, the gap between Salah and maybe an Isak or a Marmoush or someone like that is a little bit slimmer than it was a month ago. That's all I'm saying on that one. So I know you guys are going to hate me for saying all of that, but this is just my opinion. Football is a game of opinions. FPL is a game of opinions, and yeah, do what you want with that information. I don't want to force anyone to do anything. So yeah, I will be taking a risk on Isak captaincy in hopes that he plays. If he doesn't, if he is unavailable, if he is getting a rest, then really he's not going to get subbed on, really, is he? And therefore, I will be going for my vice captain, the Egyptian king, who's going to be Omar Marmoush. Yes, almost got you there, guys. But yeah, the Egyptian prince, I suppose, Omar Marmoush, is going to be my vice captain again, because I want to punt on something a little bit different. I want to go a different direction. I like the look of Marmoush at the moment, and I think this could be a little opportunity against Manchester United, which honestly, even though it's away from home, I do still think that is a better fixture than Fulham away. Does that account for Salah being a better player than Marmoush? Maybe. Maybe not. But that's just what I wanted to put out there. Want to take a risk this week with captaincy. I think it is a good opportunity. Plenty of weeks in the future to be going back to captaining boring old Salah every week. So now is the time for me to take a risk. So it's going to be Isak captain for me, and Marmoush is going to be my vice captain there as well. And hopefully we can, as we did in game week 30, bet against the crowd and come out on top, because of course we did captain Marmoush last week. It is risk-taking season, guys. It is time to make big pushes, big moves, and I guess hope for the best if you are comfortable doing so. And that is exactly my plan now for the rest of the season. Let's go crazy. Let's have some fun. Let's take some calculated risks with a solid strategy around it, with a little bit of, just a little bit of awareness and open-mindedness as well. That's kind of what I want to do for the remainder of the season. And I think I've nailed that with the strategy. We should have plenty of double game week players for game week 33 bench boost, plenty of double game weeks again, all the way in game week 36 when we come that way. And yeah, a few punts. I love it, man. Like, there's no feeling like picking a slightly different player in FPL and it really coming off. If we get a Trippier assist and a clean sheet, if we get a Marcus Rashford goal, if we even get something for Savinho as well, these are going to be some very, very nice feelings in the game of FPL. And that's kind of what I'm chasing right now. And hopefully we can get some green arrows. So that is what I'm thinking, guys. Do let me know what you think of my team. Is there anything you would change? Would you like to go for some safer options maybe? I'd love to hear from you guys on that one. Do leave a like, do subscribe. We have got plenty more videos on the channel. Buy, Sell, Keep, Avoid came out yesterday. 100 Experts came out this morning. Plenty of Game Week 31 videos for you to check out. And we'll be back tomorrow morning as we actually finalize the wildcard team for Game Week 31 in a stream. So I hope to see a few of you guys there, and if not, I'll see you in game week 32, I suppose. But for now, guys, thank you so much for watching once again, and I will see you later, mates. Bye bye.